Hello Simmers and welcome to Birmingham International Airport in the United Kingdom, where we are parked today with the flight vector A320. I just updated X-Plane to the 11.3 version, so quite curious to see if the flight vector A320 is compatible with 11.3. So to find out, I've decided to run a test flight from Birmingham to Dublin. A nice short flight, should take us approximately 45 minutes. And we are parked, like I said, at Birmingham International Airport. Airport scenery is by UK 2000. The surrounding area is ORBX Trueworth, Great Britain. I'm not really sure whether this is south or central, where this no, this will be Trueworth South, Great Britain South. But I also have the central area installed, and we're gonna fly to Dublin via Liverpool, which is in the central area. So if the clouds are okay, we might pick up a few views of the ORBX Trueworth Great Britain Central scenery as well. Then it's across the Irish Sea to Buxo, and then the Box 1 Lima arrival into runway 28 in Dublin. Estimated flight time 43 minutes. The weather, of course, the textures are SkyMaxxPro, the new version 4.7 with real weather connector, and I have the Active Sky XP installed as well. So that's the weather data generator. Active Sky XP launched a day before the news came that SkyMax was launching an update to 4.7 with the FS Global real weather stuff. Already bought Active Sky by then, so I'm not gonna bother buying the spending another 40 or 50 euros on another weather data generator. So I'm just stuck with Active Sky. But that doesn't really matter because the results are amazing. If you want to know the system specs, they are in the description of the video below. Now, like I said, Aer Lingus Flight 267, Birmingham to Dublin. We are at the gate. Already programmed the flight management computer. IRS is aligned in the meanwhile, so let's switch on those fuel pumps and let's get going. So what we're gonna do is get rid of the stairs and the loaders. We'll start up the APU, so master, and then after a few seconds start the APU. In the meanwhile, we'll check all doors closed. And let's tune in to COM frequency 122.0, because when you have Active Sky installed, that will give you an ADIS reading for the current airport.
Echo Golf Bravo Bravo Airport information Mike 1050 Zulu weather wind 001 at 3 visibility 10,000 sky condition 1400 scattered ceiling 2400 broken temperature 9er 2.7 QNH 1022 advise on initial contact that you have information Mike
Information Mike and the QNH 1022, so let's dial that in first. That was loud, by the way. Let's see, 1022. There we are. Now the APU is running, so we'll select the probe window heater on. APU bleed is now on. And let's see, we can have the APU generator that is engaged. External power is disengaged. So we can remove that one. We can remove the chocks because the parking brake is set. Should check that before removing the chocks. But anyway, performance data, our trim setting should be up 1.5. I have the electric hydraulic pump switched on, so I should be able to adjust my trim setting right now. So up 1.5. There we go. That's set. And let's call in the pushback tuck. By the way, the AI traffic that you're looking at this airport, that's generated by XLive Deluxe. I will not use the ATC function of XLive because this flight plan was generated by myself, and somehow I get error messages concerning the wide gate to tail lag. It doesn't recognize that. So that's for another video. But the AI traffic in itself is actually pretty cool that is generated by XLive. So I really like that feature. It makes the airports more alive and the skies more lively and crowded. So let's switch on the beacon lights to inform all the ground crew that they have to get the hell away from our airplane.
All doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
And let's see what the temperature in the cabin is. Conditioning 22 degrees. Well, gets a little bit too warm, so let's just dial it slightly down. Let's give ourselves a squawk code 267. That's set. Now, by the way, takeoff, our speeds, they are in here. Everything is aligned.
Connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
So let's set the initial climb altitude to 6,000 feet. Transition altitude 5,000 should be alright within the UK. And the speeds, that's managed. Everything is managed. Flight director are switched off and on again. So there we go. And he said that he was ready, so let's release the parking brakes.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Roger, starting sequence, first 2, then 1. So let's start up engine number 2, we are rolling. It is coming online. Ooh, look at this heat blur in 11.3. The particle system in X-Plane 11 was implemented. So we should see some, well, I don't know if you're going to see them at this short flight. We're not going to fly that high, but we might see some contrails. They should be improved over the previous version. So maybe we are not smoking like a chimney, but just have some more realistic sides on that. We'll check the exterior view when we are en route.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Brakes are set, clear to disconnect.
Disconnecting toes, stand by.
So number 2 is stabilized, starting number 1. You gotta love better pushback. I love the animations and how it models the pushback sequence very, very nice. Do have to check whether there's an update for this. Probably is. It's been months since I last updated better pushback. So set the auto brakes already to the max position. And with 20, 40, 60, this one half of that number 1 is available as well. This one can go back to normal.
We'll see you next time and have
Spoilers armed. Flaps 1. Thanks for your help. See you next time. Bye bye. So let's run a flight control check. Full left. Move all right, neutral, fully down, up, neutral, clear signal is received, and the rudder full left, full right, neutral. So flight control check is completed. Flaps 1, auto brakes max. Let's set the nose light to taxi. And with everything now working, we can switch off the APU master, as well as the APU bleed. TO config. Test. There's no blue. Parking brakes are released. And let's taxi to runway 33. Like I mentioned before, very short taxi today. Should be in the sky, should be airborne pretty quickly. By the way, it was quite a while since I last uploaded a video. Last year, towards the end of last year, got insanely busy at work. And I also had a holiday over the past 3 weeks. Last week was spent working again. From my holiday I spent 2 weeks in the United States. So that trip also asked for some preparation, so there was not enough time to make a video in the past few months. But we're back on track, and in the new year I'm planning on well, keep the vids coming. But we'll just have to wait and see what's happening. There's some pretty nice releases scheduled for this year as far as I know. I am expecting ORBX True Earth Netherlands. That was announced for 2018. But well, clearly they first want to release all the UK parts, so I'm hoping True Earth Netherlands will be next after the UK North or England North, Great Britain North scenery pack. We'll just have to wait and see. I also hope that Rex will come to X-Plane. They have announced that a couple of years ago, so maybe 2019 will be it. Let's hope so. Can't wait to try Active Sky with Rex for the weather textures in X-Plane. That would be awesome. Well, let's say that we are cleared for takeoff, so the landing lights go on.
Approaching 3-3.
And we're just gonna make a rolling takeoff down runway 33. Let's see how this thing behaves in the sky.
On runway 33.
In X-Plane 11.3, so okay, that's stabilized. Managed, flex 50. 80 knots is cross-checked. B1 rotates. Positive rate, gear up. No distractions. Flaps up. Slightly further to the left. We have some strong winds up here, 20 knots coming in from the left. That's blowing me off course. Bit unexpected after the winds calm at takeoff. Thrust climb. Let's lower the nose. And here we go. So far so good. Autopilot is engaged. We have to check the flight systems as well. 3,000 feet. Let's continue our climb to flight level 240. And with the current outside air temperature 12 degrees, there's still no need for anti-ice. .5,000 feet coming up, that's transition altitudes, Q&H standard. And here we are climbing out over Birmingham. Somehow I can't close the X-Live Deluxe window, so let's just make that very small in the lower left corner. And let's check the outside air temperature. That's now below 10. We are flying through clouds, so let's switch on the anti-ice. Where was that? Here it is, the wing and engines. Taxi lights, they can be switched off. Strobe lights, well, they are auto, so they ought to be working. Let's check whether they are. Yes, they are. Let's reduce the cloud draw distance because the sim was struggling to maintain 20 frames per second, but I switched the cloud draw distance quite high. So let's just set that back to about 20,000. That should help. Well, slightly. Not that much actually. At least we're now well over 20, so that's a bit smoother than we were. Of course, it's very heavy scenery to load. So far it looks like the flight factor A320 is working in 11.3 without much problems, so let's disarm the spoilers. We are flying at 6,000 feet. After IBM 20 we should be allowed to continue our climb. There's no altitude restriction after that. Let's just see where we are. Still heading towards Liverpool and we should be climbing. Here we go. So that's still working as it should. Altitude constraints are met. go through the clouds again. Let's increase the range on the nav displays. Still have to look into Active Sky and SkyMaxxPro, the combination, because ever since using Active Sky I'm starting to experience micro stutters again. Don't really like that. So I have to see whether it's in the combination of the two, because if it is, I will get rid of SkyMax, I think. Not too happy about that program. And that is because well, for a while now people have reported that if you do longer flights, a couple of, well, maybe an hour, like 2 to 3 hours in flight, people start to experience very poor performance, and that's an issue with the memory usage of SkyMaxxPro, and that was already known in 4.6. I really hope that they would have resolved that issue in 4.7, but nothing about that. It's still the same. And there's also still the issue that when you're flying over water, the reflection of the sun in the water isn't aligned. And, well, those are maybe some minor issues as far as the reflection of the sun is concerned, but they should also be quite easy to fix, in my humble opinion. And they still haven't done that. Well, I'm not too pleased with that. So when Rex makes its entrance into the X-Plane world, I will definitely take a look at that, see how that works and how that performs. So let's hope that they will do that somewhere in 2019. It's not announced officially, it's just my sincere hope that they will. Just as I like to see Flight Tampa release more of their sceneries in X-Plane. That would be awesome. Preferably Amsterdam, because the Aerosoft Amsterdam scenery, that's, well, it was good in X-Plane 10, but with all the new features in X-Plane 11 in terms of physics-based rendering and stuff like that, Amsterdam by Aerosoft is now really outdated. So I sincerely hope that either Aerosoft or Flight Tampa will release a new Amsterdam scenery. But we'll just have to wait and see if that ever happens. Nothing is announced so far, but it would be rather nice. Or Flight Tampa's Hong Kong, or Flight Tampa St. Martin, or. There's lots of Flight Tampa sceneries that I would really love to have in X-Plane. But to have Flight Tampa Amsterdam in combination with ORBX True Earth the Netherlands in X-Plane, that would be awesome. Based on what I've seen on screenshots from Prepared. That's some really nice stuff. Well, the loading of Active Sky is always causing a little bit of performance issues and stutter, so that's definitely something that I have to look into to see how I can reduce that. If anyone has tips or tricks, please let me know. Let me just see what happens if I lower the cloud coverage area a bit more. And I already did a concession to SkyMax by shutting down the cloud shadow, switching that option off. That's freeing up a lot of memory space. It's still not, well, it still has a severe impact on performance. So watched some Q8 pilots videos the other day, and noticed that he was using default X-Plane clouds with some Lua script, so I might try that one in the near future. Combined with Active Sky should give some really nice results. But anyway, we are over a wide gate, at least almost. Still climbing. Last 5,000 feet to fly level 240. Still no contrails, unfortunately. But let's release the passengers from their seat belts. Set that to auto, and there is no clouds expected, so let's switch off the anti-ice for now. Slightly right turn towards Tadal. So far so good. Everything as far as the flight factor A320 is concerned seems to work in 11.3. I think most of the performance issues that I am experiencing are related to the weather engine and weather data that's being implemented all the time. That's not that has got nothing to do with the flight factor A320. So we're now approaching the Liverpool area. So that's always some heavy scenery. Then city, airports, UK 2000 airport installed there as well. So let's just take a quick look, see what that looks like. There's the airport. And here we have the stutter in performance that I was worried about with the dense city scenery over Liverpool. But as you can see, ORBX, True Earth, Great Britain Central looks just as nice as ORBX, True Earth, Great Britain South. Absolutely wonderful sceneries. And the UK 2000 scenery of Liverpool John Lennon Airport down there as well. Although with all these heavy add-ons you can really see that the sim is struggling even on a relatively high-end PC. Of course it's not the newest anymore, it's a couple of years old now. But still it should be capable of running X-Plane with the add-ons with ease. I do have the impression that the interaction between Active Sky and SkyMaxxPro is causing some serious performance stutters. Now it was also advertised that the FS Global Real Weather is actually better suited and fully implemented with SkyMaxxPro. But like I said, they released all that stuff a day after Active Sky was launched, and I already purchased Active Sky by then. And I'm not gonna spend another $50 or 40 or 50 euros on another weather generator. Active Sky is actually quite good. It has a good reputation in FSX and Prepared, and of course X-Plane is a different platform. But I'm very grateful that they have embraced this platform now and that they will continue to develop for this. So here we are over the Irish Sea, some of the last windmill farms in the Irish Sea. There's a ship sailing down there, that's probably an aircraft carrier. Yes, it is. That's just an X-plane thing. If you see a ship sailing, most of the times it's an aircraft carrier. So we're in cruise, the top of descent is coming up down there, so let's get ourselves some charge for Dublin. Here we are. And let's see, we have, let's clear our knee board first. Flew San Francisco to San Diego last night and I didn't clean up. We had the stars for runway 28 and we have the ILS for runway 28, so let's take a look at that. And then after landing we need to go to the ground charts to see the taxiways. And then we have some aircraft stand charts that we need as well. That's basically how we are gonna taxi in. But anyway, the star, we have a Baxo 1 Lima, so we should be over Baxo at 10,000 knots, 10,000 feet, 250 knots. And then we'll just have to fly this like half circle approach to the ILS for runway 28. From there we'll take the ILS on frequency 111.35, course 279, so let's dial that in the nav radio. We can expect a decision height 610 feet. The winds. Let's see if you can already depict some weather information. From here, so let's just Google that one. No, we're not going to Google that one, we're going to pick that from Active Sky. So station Echo India Delta Whiskey. Let's see, 12th of the month, 11:30 Zulu 270, 19 knots, that's strong winds, clear visibility. Showers in the vicinity of the airport, scattered 100 feet, broken 1500 feet, 1000 feet, broken 1500 feet. Temperature 8, dew point 6, QNH 1024. What did we say about the temperature? 8 and the wind 270 at 19. So temperature is 8 and the wind 270 at 19. The transition altitude is also 5,000 feet, so that's still correct. So that's the approach data. Approach speed will be 131 knots, landing speed 125. Top of climb is coming up, so let's reduce our setting in here. Let's descend to 5,000 feet or to 6,000 feet. Set our auto brakes low. So let's make that medium. I want to basically come to a stop as quickly as we can because we have to taxi everything back the other way. So try for a early touchdown, roll out. Let's see if we can make Echo 4 or Echo 5 as our exit. Should save us some fuel taxiing back to the stand. Feet managed descent is now operational. Thrust is coming down, so speed is being reduced right now. And as soon as we hit the magenta triangle there, the rate of descent will increase. Let's switch on the engine NTIs during the descent already and set the passengers back in their seat belts. Put the passengers back in their seat belts. Now here you can see active sky at work. This is multiple layers of clouds, which actually looks quite nice. With an altitude constraint coming up for flight level 080. Now that is correct because if you look at the star plate, you can actually see that QDOM is at flight level 80. You'll basically fly most of this part on flight level 80 and then to Lapmo at 3,000 feet, maximum 180 knots. We should be at maximum 230 knots after we enter the basically the arc in here. Let's arm the spoilers already. As far as I know, the weather radar is not implemented yet, but we can always check that. This is still not working. So let's hope that Flight Vector will deliver some updates on the A320 as well this year, because officially it's still not a finished product. And we've been flying around with this thing for a couple of months now, so quite anxious to see the next few updates on this one. One thing that I don't really like about Active Sky so far is the stutters it gives on the weather updates. But like I said, they're new on the platform, so let's hope that they can update in the future to solve that and make it a lot smoother. Expect them to be capable of doing that. So far all the systems seem to work as they should. So far it met all the altitude constraints. So we'll just have to wait and see how that goes during the descent. And here's another one of those stutters. Basically, if you look at the options, let's see the general download interval. What is that set to? 15 minutes? Well, let's increase that one to 30 minutes. I'm not the kind of guy who wants the best weather every 5 minutes. And maybe this reduces some of the stutters. And let's prevent downloads on approach. That means that when you are flying in the vicinity of your arrival airport, the weather downloads will just stop, so you have more stability in your performance during your approach. So let's see if this makes any difference in the stuttering of the sim. So it's 13:50 now, it has just updated. So let's see as soon as this one is running smooth again. Basically the next update should be at 13:45. Let's see if it does that. Maybe you have to restart the application before it takes effect, but we'll just have to wait and see. So far performance is pretty low for quite a while now. Might be because it has to load in some scenery for Ireland as well now. So I'll just leave it running for a couple of minutes like this. I believe I have some Ortho 4XP tiles in the Dublin area, so if they have to load that in with the Aerosoft scenery, that might cause some issues on performance for a short bit. But they should be resolved rather quickly. That's not the case. I think I'm gonna reduce the cloud draw distance. But it is quite strange that wasn't an issue before and now all of a sudden it is. So I would be surprised if it is the cloud draw distance that's causing this dip. But there's only one way to find out, so let's test it. Let's set it to 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. Because last night I was flying from San Francisco to San Diego with the sim, and I had the same issue during descent into San Diego. All of a sudden the performance was terrible. So let's see how this goes. At least it's now better than it was. But it's still not 20 frames per second that I want and that I should be able to get. So let's try something else. See what this does. Last night, for some reason, it actually increased my performance when I increased the cloud area that was covered, but looking at this result, I don't think it's much of a solution right now with the performance dropped to 4.5 frames, so let's not do that. Let's set it back to approximately 12,000 square kilometers. Here we are. That's much better already. Anyway, with all this chit-chat about weather engines and weather engine settings, we have descended towards 10,000 feet. That is coming up right now. The speed is decreasing. It should be at 250. So let's switch on the landing lights. Oh, I never switched them off. That's my mistake. So landing lights are on. So anyway, we're coming up at Etsis. We should be over Etsis in 30 minutes, and we are now 32, almost 33 minutes in here. So we have a 3-minute delay. It's definitely the clouds that are causing the drop in performance. As soon as you start looking around or turning, it has to load in the other stuff, and then that will cause the drop in performance. So it's definitely weather engine related and not flight factor A320. Well, of course the A320 is a heavy add-on and it will cause a performance impact. But it's not, I don't think it's the cause of the stutters. I really think that's weather engine related. Anyway, let's continue the turn. We are now coming up at 8,000 feet, 230 knots for the speed, just the way we want it. We are supposed to be. And when we take a look at the approach chart, 3,000 feet over Lapmo, so let's just dial this one down to 3,000 already, giving the autopilot permission to descend to 3,000 feet as soon as it is allowed by the MCDU, as I must say. But a flight management system. It's not a flight management computer. but the flight management system. So Kogak's coming up and a right turn towards Kudon, or Kudon, or whatever. And after that we should have Delta Whiskey 814, Delta Whiskey 815, Delta Whiskey 816 to Narmu, and then it's on the ILS to 28. Still at 8,000 feet. Then all of a sudden it's a rapid drop to 3,660 feet over Narmu, 3,000 feet over Lapmu to intercept and establish on the ILS. Let's just check whether the performance data is still the same in terms of speeds. Approach speed 131, landing speed 125. And let's see if we get the same weather information for Dublin down here. 1,000 scattered, 3,000 broken, visibility 10, rain, wind 270 at 18, QNH 1024. So that is still accurate. We can work with that. I think these are amazing images. The different layers of clouds, that's definitely the benefit of active sky. Never had these type of layers with just real weather connector and SkyMaxxPro 4.7. So let's see, Delta Whiskey 815 coming up. And after that it's a rapid descent to 3,000 feet. I think we have to use some drag in there, because it seems like quite a short well, no, we should be alright. We'll just have to wait and see. We might have to use some spoilers on this leg to descend towards 3,000 feet, but we'll just have to wait and see. With the temperature below 10 degrees Celsius and the forecast to have clouds at 1,000 feet, I'll leave the engine anti-ice on throughout the approach. Let's just switch on the wing anti-ice as well. Not really sure whether that's necessary, but at least better safe than sorry, so let's just do that. We are now passing Delta Whiskey 816. We should be continuing our descent right now-ish. As in now, there we go, fly level 30, 8,000 feet. Let's set the QNH 1024. Because we are now descending to an altitude that is below the transition altitude, so let's make sure we hit that right the first time. Speed is increasing, so let's open up the spoilers. Yeah, we should be alright flying like this. Also quite anxious to see what the impact of the wind will be on the performance in final approach sector, because 19 knots is quite strong. Usually the impact of wind on a flight model is causing a lot of calculations by the CPU and thus a drop in performance, but we'll just have to wait and see what will happen. We have the Irish coast on our left. We are descending towards 3,000 feet. Not going down there fast enough for my taste, but usually the flight factor is right, so let's just see whether it's still going in the right way. Less than 2,000 feet to go with 1,200 feet per minute. That's like 1.5 minutes before we reach it. With a turn in it, well, it's gonna be tight. I think we're gonna end up a little bit high, and we also have to reduce our speed to 180 knots. If you look at these star plates, here Lotmo 3000 at maximum 180. Which is down there, so we have a deceleration point in here. I think we're gonna need to decelerate a little bit earlier, but maybe it calculated that it will hit 3,000 feet over there, and when it starts to decrease the rate of descent, that will aid in the deceleration. But let's see if the ILS is identified. There it is. So let's switch on the landing system on both sides. $14 miles out, so we're doing actually quite nice with the speed right now. Some raindrops as predicted. "3,000 feet is coming up just prior to the deceleration point, so that's looking nice. Let's arm the approach mode and autopilot number 2. And set the ILS to this display. Here we go. "12 miles out. Speed to 20 and decreasing. No, this flight factor A320 is working exactly as it should in X-Plane. So let's set the wipers on to slow. Flaps 1. Localizer established, runway 28. Glide slope is live. Well, the visibility doesn't seem to be 9,000 meters. It seems less, but we'll just wait and see. Flaps 2. Speed checked. 9.5 nautical miles out. Glide slope captured. Glide slope is green. Reducing further. Speed 170. $160. Flaps 3. A very strong headway that's causing us to fly at a very low ground speed. No, less than 130 knots ground speed right now. So it's going to take a while to reach the runway. So here we are, gear down, flaps full. Well, we do have rain, so let's keep the wipers on. Let's set the nose gear light also to takeoff position. Runway turn-off lights on. Passengers, cabin is ready. Anti-ice remains on. We have visible moisture and a temperature below 10 degrees. Verify the missed approach altitude. Climb 5,000 feet, so let's set the missed approach altitude to 5,000. There we go. And we have the runway inside now. Outer marker is passed. So landing checklist. Gear is down, locked. 3 green. Auto brakes medium. Spoilers armed. Flaps full. Missed approach heading and altitude are set. Exterior lights are on and the cabin is ready. Landing checklist is completed. Okay, auto throttle, autopilot's disengaged. Pilot has control. Runway is in sight. The winds are a bit stronger than expected, 21 knots.
28.
28 is correct, so that's verified.
100 above. Minimum.
Continue landing. Really have to give some slight rudder to the left, some right. Stick to the left to keep this airplane on course. Some very strong winds. Let's maintain glide slope.
200.
Middle marker checked. Yeah.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 5.
Ooh, that wind is really blowing me off course here. Ugh. Reverse is on. But ground speed was already very low due to the high wind speed, so here we are. And auto brakes are off. Let's vacate the runway. Landing lights off. Nose gear light to taxi. Runway turn off lights off. Anti-ice off. APU is starting. And we'll take a look at that landing from the outside perspective in a minute, guys. Let's just taxi to the gate first. Just continue straight forward here, and then it's going to be a left turn towards the apron down there. Anyway, landing system is disengaged, so is the flight director. And we can switch off the chronometer. About 50 minutes, a bit 7 minutes longer. I think that's might have got something to do with the low performance en route because of the weather generator issues and the impact that they have on performance. But anyway, we're coming up at 1634.
Approaching 3-4.
Let's say we're clear to cross. Now let's take a left turn here. Find ourselves a nice gate with some of the other Aer Lingus A320s. Is there a place? Yeah, we can stand there between the Qatari 787 and the other Aer Lingus A320, so let's park it right there. Short taxis are the best, in my humble opinion. So let's take the, what is it, 404 lefts. Here we go. And let's switch off the taxi lights. Strobe light is off. No. Oh, let's retract some flaps and spoilers. Should have done that much earlier, of course. It's going to be tight with those wings, but we should be alright. 787 is quite high actually with the wings. So we'll just take this one. So here we are, parking brake is set, windshield wipers can be switched off now. So let's just take a look at that landing now. Quite anxious to see how messy that was. So let's just see, let's speed it up a little bit. This is the, I think this is the particle system, not really sure. Might also be because we are on the parking brakes at the gate, but let's see, yeah, blown of course. Ooh, that was nasty. Corrected it, but touchdown was way off center line. Should have given some more left rudder input in the final stages of the approach. But other than that, the touchdown in itself seemed quite smooth, but this is not the aircraft attitude that you want just before touchdown. But like I said, corrected rather nicely, but not good. Barely made it onto the runway. No, not the nicest of landings. Should have done much better with the crosswind correction, but it was... I underestimated that because the wind was just slightly off the runway heading, but it was like 20-21 knots, so lesson learned for the next time. But Anyway, we are capable of reusing both the airplane and the runway, so in that sense it was a successful landing. Let's connect the ground power units. Switch off the engines. The beacon light can be switched off then, and the seatbelt signs as well. APU master can be switched off. The probe window heaters can be off. Fuel pumps off. And for the passengers we have a gate, so call that one and unload some cargo. Let's just see what the fuel is that we have left. 3040 kilos on board. According to the plan, 3193 upon landing. Well, with the taxi that we have, we might have used about 100 kilos, so should be somewhat like this. But anyway, like I mentioned, the objective of this video was to check whether the flight vector A320 is compatible with X-Plane 11.3. And my final conclusion is that it is. I didn't experience any problems with the airplane itself. All systems were functioning normally, and well, there are no big issues to report here. So anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you liked it. If you have any tips, tricks, comments, questions whatsoever, please leave them in the comment section below. And I hope to see you another time on another video. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.